morning, good afternoon, good evening to all of my wonderful and juicy little subscribers out there. That's how I love you all so, and I hope that you're all super duper well, super duper wonderful, and super duper delicious, and that life is treating you most deliciously. So what do we do? 3, 2, 1, my juicy little lights. Thank you, little lights. You're delicious and bright. Right. So it's 5 to 2 in the afternoon, my delicious little babies, in our older England. It's a very grey sky. It was peeing down all night, my delicious little babies. If it's raining, it's raining. And, well, it's rather cold. So this is why I'm wearing my jumper today, my delicious little babies. So I did hear that that we're supposed to be on Bank Holiday Monday. Well, that makes a refreshing change because usually, as everybody's known over the decades, every time there's a bank holiday, it usually pees down with rain, my delicious little babies. Okay, it's like they do it deliberately. You know, when ones have a day off work, it pees down with rain. Okay, my delicious little babies now then. So yeah, we're supposed to be having some more sunshine. You know what I mean, my delicious little babies? Well, we'll just wait and see, won't we? Okay. So if one's, I'm not talking about anybody who does know my delicious little babies. Okay, I'm talking about those who clearly do not know. At the end of the day, if they cannot see it by now, that ones can predict the weather, days ahead, then I do not know what else to say, my delicious little babies, okay? But yet you still have ones who look on their dog and bone. Oh, what is the weather going to be today? Do you see what I mean, my delicious little babies, okay? For myself, simple things. I go outside, I see what the weather's like. Simple things. Or I look out my window. Simple things. Do you see what I mean, my delicious little babies? Now then, so I've got a couple of bits of information for you today, my delicious little babies, car. And I do not know how long, slightly stumbled there, rightfully so, how long my video take to upload my delicious little babies, because it just takes hours upon hours upon hours. Okay, my delicious little babies. So I've got the first one. I've never seen these before, and with anybody, not in that way, not in that way. Okay, my delicious babies. This one seems a young one, probably in his 20s. For some of you, you may have heard of him. For others of you, you may not. Myself, personally, I have never seen this uploader before. They happen to have 1.71 thousand subscribers, my delicious little babies. So in the old space bar, in old YouTube, my delicious little babies, should anybody happen to have any form of an interest, this video is just over 7 minutes 41 seconds or something long, my delicious little babies. Capital J for John, JOHN, space, capital C, car, so it's CARR, and then capital space, capital B for British, well, we're English, and then space, capital U for uprising, but it's just what that says, so I'm not, saying this against the uploader, okay? It's just that I train myself to say that we're English, okay, my delicious little babies, okay? Now then, this video should read, why are so many police, the old bill, quitting now? It says one question mark. I always put 2, my delicious little babies, okay? So I'll just repeat that again for you, shall I? Why are so many police quitting now? Yes, my delicious little babies. So this is, I'm sure that for some of you, you may have seen this video. For myself, I've only just seen it. Was it yesterday I seen it or something like this? Well, what it is, this is to do with a man who's at work, and the old Bill have came to see him. I can only assume at his place of work. And, to talk about, the protests that your man there's going to be going to. Well, his response, there we are. I found it to be, there we are, very amusing. My delicious little babies, okay? He was done saying what he had to say. He said, that the English, the British are standing up now. Okay, my delicious little babies, okay? And he was, basically, there we are, he was done saying it. Now, if my man serves me correctly, because I've only watched it one and a bit, because I just needed to write it down, as the old Bill, the man, the policeman, has he been suspended? I think he's been suspended. I've deleted it now, my delicious little baby's Kai, but he has been suspended from his job or something. Anyway, well, because he too thought it was a load of rubbish as well. There we are, my delicious little babies. Do you know what I mean? Why he was even sent to your man there, okay? Well, it's about time, I feel, my delicious little babies, that the old Bill, our police in our old England, there we are, that they do start to, there we are, to speak up, because they're meant to be there to help us, there we are, to serve us, not to go and approach somebody to do with a protest, my delicious little babies, okay? That's why I said you've got constables, which is what we used to have, constables, and then now you've got officers. There's a very large difference. So for many, you will already know that, my delicious little babies, okay? There's a very large difference indeed. Okay, this certainly is not a constable. None of them are. Okay, so for most of them, there we are. They are, from what I can see, you've got a new setting. You know what I mean? This has been here for a while. And for some of them, I'm not going to say all of them. Of course, we cannot say every single one, not at all. But for some of them, they are just pure bullies. That is what they are. They are pure, there we are, bullies. Okay, so to go into a job like that, they put their uniform on. Some would call it fancy dress, because let's not forget, everybody has a fancy dress. Nurses, doctors, those in the white coats, who I personally cannot stand. Well, they all play a part, don't they, on this stage, my delicious little babies? Do you see what I mean? But the ones who seem to be taking early retirement, the police old Bill, are the ones who, it appears to myself, cannot cope anymore with their job. Because what it is, it's like they've been set upon against their own mankind. There we are, my delicious little babies. Do you see what I mean? So, so they're saying to themselves, right, well, I just do not want to do a job anymore. Because I'll repeat it again. If you're going to go into a job, you're going into a job because you want to help, there we are, mankind. But this is not what's happening. It's like they're deliberately being set against anybody who has any form of a freedom of speech, which I believe that everybody is entitled to a freedom of speech. There we are, my delicious little babies. Sometimes ones may disagree with others, but that is the beauty of life. If everybody said the same thing now, and totally agreed with everything, well, life would be pretty damn boring. Do you know what I mean, my delicious little babies? Okay, so yeah. So the only ones who seem to be staying in their jobs, same as the doctors and nurses, are the ones where, let's just say, there we are, they clearly, there we are, enjoy what they're doing to their mankind, my delicious little babies. There's plenty of doctors and nurses, isn't there, my delicious little babies, who are taking a nice big fat paycheck, my delicious little babies, okay? Just to jibby jab. Do you know what I mean, my delicious little babies? And like I'm saying, which I do say in a number of my videos, I am not saying that to hurt, offend, or to upset anybody. I am not that kind of woman. I speak my mind, because that is murder. There we are. Simple thing, murder. Okay, my delicious little babies, and there's going to be, appears, a lot more. There we are. Okay, my delicious little babies, not only with the jibby jab, but also with this, this assisted, we do not like this word, but we seem to keep hearing it, assisted dying bill, my delicious little babies, which of course, they've had in Switzerland for a long time, for years, and of course, in Canada and everything like this now then. This is very, there we are, very, very, very dangerous ground. Okay, my delicious little babies, they are very dangerous indeed. But of course, you have some mothers do have them. You know, I've seen it. I've seen the videos. It disgusts me. Absolutely disgusts me. Okay, my delicious little babies. Okay, so if somebody's depressed, even if they're a little teenager and they're depressed, oh well, that's all right. Well, you know, I do not mean this in a nasty way, but this is what they're saying. I'm only explaining, my delicious little babies, what they're done saying. Well, you know, you can be euthanized. Okay, they're my delicious little babies. You know what I mean? So they're treating mankind just like, say, if you go to the vets. My delicious little babies, see, they have another fancy dress there. Do you see what I mean? My delicious little babies, okay? So ones have to see, there we are, what is going on, my delicious little babies, you know what I mean? This is all putrid, man. And why ones, you know, I'm not talking about all of us, but why ones just do not, there we are, stand up. But of course, from what I can see now, this is going in a, there we are, a direction. There we are. You can feel it. I'm not inciting anything. Do you know what I mean? You can just see that it's let's just say it's on the simmer. There we are right now. Okay, there we are, and it's happening in America and it's happening in other places. You know, and there's lots of other videos to do with ones who are, you know, to do with our the English flag. My delicious little babies, you know what I mean? I tell you what, you got a number on YouTube, my delicious little babies. There we are. They are well peed off about this. Well peed off. You know what I mean? Nobody's got a problem if you come from any country. Well, there seems to be a lot of different countries. I'm not racist prejudice. I'm just done saying it the way it is. Nobody's got a problem, my delicious little babies, okay? You know, of wanting to have your own flag. Nobody's got a problem with that, okay? But you see, okay, but why should it be so that ones can fly their flags, but ours get taken down? Simple thing. I'm just asking a question, my delicious little babies. Do you know what I mean? So rightfully, sir. I mean, I'm not one for flags anyway, my delicious little babies. But I got to be honest. When I heard that, there we are. It totally peed myself off. Do you know what I mean? Okay, because if we was to go to their country, it's like over here. It's like, you know, even changing the subject slightly, where you know, you got buses. I mean, I needed to pop to the bank this morning, my delicious little babies. Kind. It used to be at my local shopping centre, but it's been moved now. Okay, my delicious little babies, you know, so they closed that one, and then you had to go to the larger branch. There's another branch. Okay, my delicious little babies, which of course that requires for myself 2 buses there and 2 buses back, because even though it's rather chilly, but I thought, well, you know, I thought, well, rather than get a taxi, I thought I'd just hop on the bus, you know. And usually, because it's in the week, it's rather quick, you know what I mean? Well, that costs myself £5.20 for an all-day bus ticket. But yet others, and there's been many who've seen, okay, so there's a lot who talk about it. This is not just me, myself, one or two, where they just walk on the bus and just do not pay a penny. But if that was myself, I'd either be told to step off the bus or they'd call the old bill on me. There we are. Do you see what I mean, Martin? Babies, okay? But others, they talk in a certain language and then they just get on the bus. So how fair, there we are, is that, my delicious little babies? Because I do not see that as being very fair, do you? Okay, but this is what's going on. If we went to another country, yes, okay, and we were waiting for a bus, there we are, we would have to pay the fare for that bus. Do you see what I mean, okay? If you never paid it, well, they'd go off the flipping head, wouldn't they? So the fact of the matter is, why should it be one rule for our old England and another rule for another country? That's all I'm asking, my delicious little babies. Do you know what I mean? Because it does pay you off. And you see so many, bless them, where they all pay the bus fare. They have these, what's it called, these apps now, where you pay on an app thing, then you just do that. I just prefer just to pay the cash amount to little babies. Ka-ching, 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 you know what I mean? Anyway, so that's that. Now then, yeah, and there's a lot going on in America. It's just, honestly, it's just unreal what's going on, mad little babies, do you know what I mean? It's just, And the question is, has anybody asked for this? None of us have asked for this, my delicious little babies, okay? But the ones who are supposed to be leading, there we are, have put us in this situation. And then, as our lovely, not in that way, our lovely David Ark would say, okay, it's a problem, reaction, and a solution. That is the absolute, the most banging words, there we are, that I've ever really heard put together. Do you see what I mean, mad delicious little babies? But that's what these are up to. So what they do, they create all the problems. And then they say, oh, well, we've got the solution for you. Do you see what I'm saying, mad delicious little babies, okay? So this is what's going on. But bless you, our lovely dear David Ark, and your lovely dear sons, and your lovely dear friends and family. Do you know what I mean? Bless you all. Because they speak up, bless them, not in that way. They speak up, there we are, for a freedom of speech. Do you see what I mean, mad little babies, okay? Because it's getting to the point, and it's happening in America and everything, there we are, where, ones are going to go, enough is enough. You know what I mean, mad little babies, okay? How much can ones take? So like I said, I'm not inciting anything. It's what the ones who are supposed to be leading, okay, have created. My delicious little babies, do you see what I mean? I heard as well, and our lovely trending with Iconic, not in that way. There's more rapes that are going on. 14-year-old little lassies. Because of some of these, I'm not going to say all of them, we cannot say that, with some of these ones who are coming in, my delicious little babies, do you know what I mean? None of this should be allowed to happen at all. But we all know who's created the problem, don't we, my delicious little babies? But like I said, it's going to get to, there we are, such a point. And I'm not the only one saying it, my delicious little babies. I'm not the only one saying it at all. Do you understand what I mean? If you look out there, you've got thousands upon thousands, there we are all saying the same thing, okay? Because, why should you feel a stranger, there we are, in your own damn country? And something else I want to say as well, I'm going to repeat this as well. Now, you do hear about the ones where they say, oh, they say, I'm going to move to another country and all this. Now then, okay, like I said, if it's business and that's what you're doing as a, in your job role, and then okay, fair enough. But the fact of the matter is, right, if you're just going to run from your country, you know what I mean? Because right now, it appears to myself that there's not many who I feel, well, it isn't safe anywhere, my delicious little babies, okay? So no matter where you go to, it's only a matter of time before you got problems there. And there's loads of problems as it is, my delicious, there we are, my delicious little babies, do you know what I mean? So where are they going with that? I mean, I heard somebody this morning, they were talking about, what was they talking about? That the moved to Mexico. Well, I mean, come on, doesn't there we are, Mexico have problems as well? There we are, my delicious little babies, you know what I mean? In some of the what's it called? In some of the places, you cannot pay ka-ching, ka-ching, ka-ching. You can only pay like with one of these poxy flipping app things. You know what I mean, my delicious little babies? But there is another little part of Mexico where they only use cash, okay? But there's a lot where they're using these poxy apps. So what if you haven't got, say, a dog and burn, a mobile? Do you see what I mean? So what is it? You cannot go and sit and eat in that restaurant. Anyway, they were a long time doing this with London, and it was peeing ones off, do you know what I mean? And they were still paying the cash. Do you see what I'm saying? But in the end, I was saying this a long time back, in the end, in old London, in our old England, you know what they'll do? It's only a figure of speech. I do not mean in literal. They'll shoot themselves in a damn foot, man. Do you see what I mean? And the reason why is because ones get cheesed off when they realise where they're driving this. There we are, my delicious little babies. Do you know what I mean? You watch the flipping uproar. So, like I said, I'm not inciting anything. But when ones really understand, there we are, and get a grasp of the truth, what these are trying to do. And of course, they're trying to speed ahead because they want everything done now for 2030, my delicious little babies. Do you know what I mean? Okay, this is very serious what's going on. But like I said, ones have to really say to themselves, well, and like I said, I'm not inciting anything, who brought the problem? Question, simple thing. Do you see what I mean, my delicious little babies? Do you say? And this is why I feel that they, to do with all the free speech, that's why I feel that they're doing what they're doing. Because they know that, there we are, they know that they're doing damn well wrong to us out here. There we are, they know they're doing wrong. But what they want everybody to do is go, shushy, shushy, keep your trap shut, don't say anything, just let us do what we're doing, let us run our old England into the ground, that they continue to be little bitches for we know who, to land their own skyrockets, do you know what I mean, okay? But little do they realise, there we are, that they are being used, there we are, as well, you see? Because they're all looking for a place on the little Bert, aren't they, my delicious little babies, do you know what I mean? But they cannot see further than the end of their nose. Do you see what I'm saying, my delicious little babies, anyway? So, there's that one anyway, and so what we got here? Oh yes, I've got to talk about this as well. So this one here, but this video here is 4 months ago, my delicious little babies, okay? It's only when I was scrolling and looking for something else, my delicious little babies, I was just having a little scroll down. And I came across this one. Now, for some of you, I don't know, you may know about this, my delicious little baby. You see, for myself, because I'm not into these kind of things now, okay, it doesn't apply to myself, but I'm mentioning it today. There we are, for a reason, okay? So I'm going to give my view. I'm a woman with a view. I shall have my effing view, okay, my delicious little babies. Now then, this uploader happens to have 125,000 subscribers, my delicious little babies. Doesn't mean no. And capital L in your space bar in older YouTube, my delicious little babies, level space, then a number 2. So it's not the writing 2, it's the number 2. Then space, Jeff, J for Jeff. Okay, my delicious little babies. And, oh, my nose is itching. The video should read, I won't connect my dishwasher to your stupid cloud. Okay, my delicious little baby, so I'm just going to repeat that again for you, shall I? I won't connect my dishwasher to your stupid cloud. Okay, my delicious little babies, now we've got to close our book, sort of got to draw a line there. And we need to go back to where we need to go back to, my delicious little babies, okay? Now then, so what's this all about? So this is to do with a man, excuse me, and what did he say? Him and his missus, his wife, they got and that's only just over 11 minutes long, my delicious little babies. They've got 5 little bairns, okay, my delicious little babies. And he bought a Bosch, it's called Bosch, dishwasher, my delicious little babies. Now, what it is, it's one of these, these touch, these touch bloody silly bloody damn machines. Okay, my delicious little babies. Now then, you can use some of the features on there, my delicious little babies, but if you want to use other features, well then you've got to connect it to your Wi-Fi. Yes, there we are. That's right, my delicious little babies. You have to connect it to your Wi-Fi. Since when should any, it's very interesting, the comments as well, my delicious little babies, very interesting indeed, okay? Since when Should anybody in their kitchen have to connect an appliance, there we are, to the Wi-Fi? So can you see quite clearly, my little babies, there we are, what is going on here, okay? So what did he say? It took him about 4 hours to, I think, with his dad to, install this dishwasher, mad little babies. And of course, he said he needs a dishwasher because he's got 5 bends. Come on. If we go back decades ago, my delicious little babies, okay, we never used dishwashers. I mean, okay, you've seen them in the pubs, and even before then, they used to wash it up, used to wash all of the glasses and plates and everything, okay? And then they put in these, what they call them, glass washers, my delicious little babies. Do you see what I mean, okay? But my point is, before dishwashers were here, what did ones do, my delicious little babies, okay? So bless, ones, who can use their hands. So I'm not saying that against anybody who very, sadly is disabled, okay? I do not mean it's that way. We got a pair of hands, haven't we? My delicious little babies. Do you see what I'm saying? Yes. I mean, fair enough. I use a kettle. But I still use an old-fashioned grill when I do my toast and everything. My delicious little babies. Do you see what I mean? Okay. And also, because I do not eat bread all of the time. No. But yes, I'll use a kettle. I'll use a blender. Okay, and I use a vacuum, a Hoover. The old vac. But the one thing that I've never ever wanted in my life, my delicious little babies, is a dishwasher. I've never, ever, ever wanted to have a dishwasher. Because what it does, okay, you have to see, there we are, how this rocks and rolls, there we are, my delicious little babies, right? It makes one, there we are. So I'm not saying this against anybody who, if one's out there like dishwashers, there we are, then carry on with your dishwasher. So I'm not saying it to be rude or disrespectful. What I'm saying is that it makes one, there we are, very lazy. Because it's like, oh, don't stand at the sink and, and use your hands. It's like all of these new taps and everything. It's like they make them. So, so you cannot do this way, cannot do that way. Do you see what I'm saying? It's all a form to make you more lazy. There we are, my delicious little babies. That's what this is about. Do you see? Okay, just like these silly poxy flipping driverless cars. Oh, so you don't have to have critical thought, to indicate left or to indicate right or to reverse or to go forward, my delicious babies, or to put your hands on the steering wheel. No, 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 no. They do not want that, my delicious little babies. Okay, they want you just to sit back, relax, and it'll all be done for you. Do you see what I mean, my delicious little babies? You never see me getting one of those damn flipping cars ever. Do you know what I mean? They're dangerous anyway. I've seen videos, so I know. Okay, my delicious little babies. So let's just say there we are. There's still teething problems there, shall we say, my delicious little babies? And of course, anybody who goes out and buys one, well, I just do not know what to say. I do not know what to say, my delicious little babies, okay? But I just wish that ones, there we are, not being nasty, I just wish, there we are, that ones could see. I mean, how do you think that some of these families, decades and decades and decades ago, my delicious little babies, how do you think they got on with a large family? Like a 9, 10, 12, 13. 14 in the family, 15, 16 sometimes, because, you'd have your, living with your mummies and your daddies and everything. Then you had all the bairns and you had mummy and daddy and, very large families. Of course, we do not see a lot of that anymore, do we, my delicious little babies? Do you know what I mean? They seem to, want you to have as little as possible, my delicious little babies. Do you know what I mean? So, that's all I can say. Oh, no, there is another thing. If you was to go on he's on Rumble, but he's on Odyssey as well. My Delicious Little Babies, okay, Odyssee. And it is World Space Alternative Space Media. Okay, my delicious little babies. So he is on Rumble, and he is on Odyssey, but then he is on BitChute as well. My delicious little babies. Okay, but of course we cannot very sadly get BitChute. Okay, my delicious little baby, because little baby, sorry, because I advertise them all the time. Do you know what I mean? Okay, I flipping miss it till this day. My delicious little babies. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, he's very goodish, Josh. Okay, my delicious little babies. Okay, so he keeps you up to date, but he goes through it as well. My delicious little babies as well, because he has problems as well because of because of the videos that he puts out. This is what I'm saying. When you tell the truth, these are not a liking when you tell the truth, my delicious little babies. Do you know what I mean? That's why they do what they do to my videos. They are exactly the same. I've got it as well, my delicious little babies. Do you know what I mean? So it's very, very rare that anybody really ever sees my videos, my delicious little babies. Do you know what I mean? So it's like you're talking, there we are, in the camera to yourself, but really you're not, because they're listening, aren't they, my delicious little babies? You know what I mean? So what's my answer, getting back to this epoxy dishwasher? Simple things. I would never have bought the damn thing in the first place. And not only that, you're connecting it to the Wi-Fi. Anyway, it's just another one of these where they just, be listening and, to everything. My delicious little babies, you know what I mean? Of course, some would say that, I'm a flipping, sandwich short of a picnic. My delicious little babies saying that, oh, how can appliances listen to? Well, they are. And the smart meters, there we are. And all of them, my delicious little babies. Do you see what I mean? Okay. So, you wouldn't see me buy these. I've got a pair of hands. There we are. I shall use my pair of hands to do my washing up. You know what I mean? Even decades ago, with one of my beautiful dear little friends, bless her dear soul, okay, she had a dishwasher, and I was just happier. She said, "Oh no, Carla, just pop it all into dishwasher." And I said, "No." I said, "I hope you don't mind." I said, "My little lovely, my little sweet." I says, "But no." I said, "I've got a pair of hands." There we are. I said, "And I'll use them." Do you see what I mean, my delicious little babies, okay? So, yeah, ones are just got to be very careful now. But, I mean, to turn around and say, because you got 5 bands, that you need a dishwasher, it's bloody well damn laziness. There we are. It's damn laziness. I just personally do not like them. I mean, please do not get me wrong. I do adore my little washing machine and my little dryer. You know what I mean, okay? But I just prefer the older type of appliances. Not all of these new, because everything is not cracked up to what it's supposed to be, my delicious little babies, okay? But you shouldn't have to connect to your Wi-Fi for your flipping dishwasher or for any other appliance, my delicious little babies. This poxy cloud business. Oh, the other thing I want to say to you as well, my delicious little babies. So I was listening on another video. I forgot to write it down, actually. It has something, 62 million? What's it called now? Hold on. Just let me see if I can remember. Apple Space Explained. It's something like that, my delicious little babies, on old YouTube, okay? I'm pretty sure, like I said, it has 1.62 million subscribers, my delicious little babies. Yes. Well, from what I was listening to do with the Apple, my delicious little babies, well, it seems that all of their, what does it say? What was it on the video? Something like Apple's greediness is now backfiring. Okay, my delicious little babies, because how he was explaining it was, what was it? Was it about 20 odd minutes long? And I was listening to it yesterday, my delicious little babies, and how he was explaining it was, it's like they want to charge you more ka-ching, 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 for your Apple. These dog and burns, my delicious little babies, okay? But nothing's really changed. Sorry, rewind and start again. Nothing's really changing on them, my delicious little babies. Do you see what I mean? So they want to change, ka-ching, but they don't want to do much else. You know, and as he was talking about Steve Jobs and everything else like that now, I'm still convinced, there we are, that he's alive. Because I seen a video and it looked a lot like him. My delicious little babies. The only difference was he had a beard. Okay, my delicious little babies can. So yeah, I'd take a look at that video on YouTube. My delicious little babies. He just tells you everything about Apple. Okay, my delicious little babies. I mean, you never ever see myself in a million years. Gosh, I don't know what's happened these past couple of days with my nose. I'm very sorry, my delicious little babies. You'd never ever see myself pay a flipping grand or £2 for a dog and bone. Is anyone having a flipping laugh? That is just silly flipping ka-ching, man. I mean, we're in times now where everything's, like I say, is going through the roof, you know, all of food. Like I said, I could just ramble on about that for flipping days, my delicious little... Rewind again and start again, my delicious little babies. I could ramble on flipping for days talking about that. So the fact of the matter is, right, if you go out and get a dog and bone for, say, £1 or £2, right, well, you need food, don't you, my delicious little babies? Do you know what I mean? So you need to eat. I would never, ever in a million years, my delicious little babies, pay that kind of change for a dog and bone. No, I would not. Okay, my delicious little babies. I mean, the dog and bone that I've got now cost me it was £100, I think. Was it 110? I can't remember now. It's something like that. But you'd never ever see me spend what I call a change when you know, not even if I was a millionairess, I wouldn't do it. That is just absolutely silly business. All I really use my dog and bone for, my delicious little babies, okay, is if I need to make a phone call, okay, on the dog and bone to pay a bill, or sometimes to get a taxi, or sometimes if I need to send a message, okay, my delicious little babies, if somebody sends me a message, I will send them a message, okay. I also use it, because my beautiful little baby brother, bless him, he sends me a beautiful message and quote every day. Okay, so I always make sure I do that. Okay, and then sometimes if my beautiful dear little friends call me, but other than that, I don't use it really for anything else. I'll try my best not to, and of course, for doing little videos, but other than that, no, I don't like to have all of these apps on my dog and bone, my delicious little babies. Do you know what I mean? Okay, I do have Substack. There we are, because Substack's very good. Do you know what I mean, my delicious little babies? Okay, but why would I want to go and spend that kind of change? Not at all. I just do not see any sense whatsoever. And like I say, half the time they're getting flipping stolen and robbed. Aren't they, my delicious little babies? Because they know exactly which ones, there we are, that they're going for when they're robbing them. Do you see what I mean? There we are. There we are. You see what I mean, my delicious little babies? Do you so? So anyway, when I heard about Apple, okay, I've got to be honest. I heard it and I thought, well, I'm not surprised. You can only have there we are, so much of a good run, there we are, for so long. My delicious little babies, you know what I mean? But if you're not delivering the goods, there we are, like you're supposed to be delivering the goods, my delicious little babies, do you know what I mean? But you're wanting more ka-ching, well, something's not adding up. Is it, my delicious little babies, you know what I mean? So that's all I've got to say. I'm not going to say anything more about it now, but I just thought I'd mention it. My delicious little babies, do you see what I mean? Yes? So until my next video, okay, sending peace, love, harmony, and bright blessings to each and every one of you, okay? And may your beautiful little selves and your beautiful little families, may you all be fully protected, okay? And whether it's morning, afternoon, or evening, please have a super duper delicious time. You only get one life, my little honey bunnies. Yes, we only get one life, my delicious little babies, okay? And I just feel so sorry. I mean, even when I was out today, just very lastly, and I see so many, the energy's just not the same as it used to be. There's a lot more, there we are, I feel sadness. I mean, even now, I remember on our road, even up until 5 years ago, and let me tell you, it's nothing like what it used to be at all. My delicious little babies, nothing like it at all. Okay, and whether you waiting at the bus stop, or whether you sat on the bus, or whether it's just a sadness. Ones just do not, it's like in our old England, like we got there we are, like a horrible blanket of of sadness for some delicious little babies who should not be feeling sad. Do you understand what I mean? But of course, look what's been done to us. There we are. Look what's been done to us in our country, my delicious little babies. Do you know what I mean? Nobody should ever have to live like that. Not at all. You know what I mean, my delicious little babies. Anyway, so that's my video for today. Okay. So wherever you are in the world, my little beautifuls, you just look after yourself now, all right? And, and if it is a beautiful day, please try to enjoy it wherever you are in the world, okay? So until next time, take care. Thank you. Bright blessings. Love to you all. Thank you for listening, for any likes, and for the occasional comments. Goodbye.